Forgive me for not reporting on this story sooner. I know it's been out for a few days, but I've been looking at this story pretty hard, looking at different news stories, and the whole thing is really bizarre and doesn't make any sense. And after being burned, like with the Baltimore Fox News story, Mr. Tobin, oh, I seen the cop pull out his gun and shoot the guy right in the back, and then they retract the story, and then you're like, oh my God. So you instantly become more and more cynical with what you're seeing from mainstream media, right? Of course, that's natural. So what's the whole deal here? Okay, this is what I've been finding interesting. So you already know the background. I'm sure I probably don't have to give you the whole rundown, but Kamala Harris, the Attorney General of California, her aide, which it should be clear that for you to be able to work your way up into a position like that, you have to have some form of education. You have to have some form of, smarts to you, right? So how smart is it, do you think, to walk into police departments, Santa Clarita Station? They walk in February. Now, they tell them, hey, we belong to the Masonic Fraternal Police Department, and we're giving you a courtesy notice here that we are setting up shop in your area. What's come out, though, is that they've actually did this at several other police departments up and down the state of California. And in doing so, they claimed at that time that they have a jurisdictional authority or jurisdiction in 33 states. Now, why is it lost on everybody about the number 33? Why 33, right? Remember? 33 degrees. So they got jurisdiction in 33 states. Why they didn't have a jurisdiction in all 50, I will not know. But the number 33 should be your clue that they were trying to say something with that. But what's interesting is that every police department they went into before Santa Clarita Police Department, and a few after until they were caught with this ruse, it's being called, the other police departments didn't do anything or didn't institute any kind of investigation like Santa Clarita did. To me, that's a huge red flag. Do you go into, like, let's say San Diego or San Francisco or Oakland or any of these other huge ass cities, and you go in there and state, yes, we're from the Masonic Fraternal Police Department, and we're letting you know that we're setting up shop. None of them instituted an investigation, right? What, was there some kind of secret handshake that confirmed who they were? Is that the reason why they didn't suspect anything? Now, they walked into these police departments, according to San Clarita, they did. Now, whether they did so in some of these others, I'm not sure yet. I haven't found any reports on that. That they walked into the police departments in their Masonic Fraternal Police Department uniforms. Their imagery of a badge right here of the pentagram with the Baphomet symbol, you can see the eyes right there, and the Masonic chief of the Fraternal Police. Where does their authority come from, they claim? Well, they claim to have be from the Knights Templar, or they represent these connections to the Knights Templar. They say go back 3,000 years. Now, what is interesting about this is these charges that they're bringing against these individuals. They state that they are charging them with impersonating a police officer. I do not think that those type of charges would stick, and here's why. To be if for California to bring a charge of impersonating a police officer, you first have to be impersonating a police officer of a police agency from the state of California. Okay, like what I mean by that is for you to be impersonating a police officer in Los Angeles, you have to be wearing a official police officer's uniform of the city of Los Angeles. Now, they happen to be claiming some kind of U.S. jurisdiction of 33 states, which, for all technical purposes, does not make them claiming to be a local law enforcement from the state of California. So technically, I don't see that these charges would stick against somebody for impersonating a police officer who's not of the state of California. So I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but I just thought that you guys would like to know that. Interesting. Here's some things about Kamala Harris, which I find pretty interesting here. Is this? She's running for the open seat of Senator Barbara Boxer. So this could be some kind of ploy to defame her of some reason. And also, don't forget the Obama connection, although slim as it is. Mr. Peter Puffer, President Obama, comes out and says, "Hey, she's the hottest, or the best-looking Attorney General in the U.S." and was a possible choice to replace Eric Holder. Well, I don't know. It didn't really make much sense because President Obama doesn't like women anyway. That's just from what I've seen. But her family connections, pretty interesting. Right here, where is it? I'm sorry, don't mean to hold you guys up. Her younger sister, Ford Foundation Vice President and former Executive Director of the ACLU. That's a pretty interesting little opposition there within the family because, of course, the ACLU fights for, supposed to anyway, for criminals' rights or suspects and, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, the Attorney General is always fighting to keep people in prison or, along those lines, right? So that I found was a pretty interesting little thing. But her brother-in-law, Tony West, the former number 3 official at the U.S. Justice Department. Now, how is this going to play out with this Masonic Police Department that is claiming to have jurisdiction in 33 states? Is this guy, Tony West, still associated with the U.S. Justice Department? I don't know. I didn't check that far into it. But I find some rather weird connections, and I found this story really, really freaking bizarre. And so I'll leave you guys with that, and thank you, and sorry I was late for this, but I wanted to fully check on this story for you before I even covered this.